Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted to be welcomed into your home. We know what a privilege it is to be there, and we certainly would love to hear from you. So send us a question or a comment by email to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Well, today our guest is Michael Heinlein. He is an award-winning Catholic writer and editor. One of his most recent books is Black Catholics on the Road to Sainthood. And this beautiful book is available at ewtnrc.com. And we had our live Monday show, and we were talking about, we put the question, the comment actually out there. Please tell us if you know of any Black Catholics that are on the road to sainthood. And it was so beautiful to hear the responses. We had Deacon Sivers on our show, and we had a wonderful call-in from a woman, Catherine from California. She didn't know that they were African-American nuns, right? And so it's just so beautiful to put it out there. So, and you know what? If your heart, this is the beautiful thing about God. So why Black Catholics? Why do we have to do that? God offends your mind to reveal your heart. If you're offended and you think, oh, why do we got to do this? Or why do we got to do Irish Catholics? Why do we got to do? Well, we all are diverse, but we all are one. And if your heart and mine are offended, you need to bring it before the Lord and say, Lord, why am I irritated or offended, or why do I have an attitude about this? And bring it before the Lord, that he would reveal to you maybe attitudes and beliefs and whatever you got going on to make you more pure and holy.
So who are these people that we're sharing about? If we can get the book up there again and see it. If not, we'll just say the names. But Servant of God, Mary Lang. And if you're looking at the book to the top left, with the hat on there, that's Mary Lang. Right below her is Pierre Toussaint. He's venerable. Right below him is Julia Greeley. She's a servant of God. Then the top right is Father Augustus Tolton, venerable. And then we have Thea Bowman, servant of God. And then venerable Henriette DeLille. So those are the beautiful faces that they have there. And we love the book. We love getting to know these servants of the Lord that may very well be one day canonized. Hopefully this will help their process, and hopefully it'll help us through their holiness of life, through their heroic virtue, through their acts of mercy, to be inspired and to want to emulate their lives and pass their good works on to our children and they to their children. We'll be right back, plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guest is Michael Heinlein. He is award-winning Catholic writer and an editor of Our Sunday Visitors. You could go to his website, simplycatholic.com. One of his most recent books is Black Catholics on the Road to Sainthood, and this beautiful book is available at ewtnrc.com. Well, Michael, we welcome you to At Home, and we're excited to have you with us today. And we want you to tell our family a little bit about yourself and why you wrote this book, and then let us know about these saints, these Black Catholics who are on the road to sainthood.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here. A little bit about myself. I'm an only child. I grew up Catholic. As I like to tell people, my French-Canadian ancestors converted every generation. And I received the faith as a baby. My father eventually converted to the faith. I was fortunate enough to be a sponsor in 2012. And his grandfather had been a Nazarene clergyman, a district superintendent, something like a bishop. But have loved the faith, grew up in Catholic schools, studied theology at the Catholic University of America, and married to my wife Gretchen, and we have two wonderful kids. And life is a blessing. That's
Yeah, I
all
think
I can say
we've
about
had
myself.
Gretchen on at Home with Jim and Joy. We had your wife on. It was a great job.
Yeah, so I feel very much at home here because of that.
Yes.
Well, good. Welcome. We're glad.
So
Thank you.
Michael,
This
share.
book,
Yeah, go ahead. Share with us about why the book and why at this time and how's it laid out and what people might find here.
Well, I think you would be in the same camp as myself in the summer of 2020, figuring out what can we do in the midst of this racial awakening that we are all experiencing across the country. And, like St. Paul says, we all have different gifts and talents. I have loved researching these 6 individuals for many years. I've just been drawn to them for a variety of different reasons. And so I thought at the time, how can I put more attention on them at this moment? That's what I can do to try to respond. I can't do everything, but I can try to do this. And so I started by writing some short biographies of them that were inserted into our Sunday Visitor newspaper as a short booklet. And then I had the idea that we should maybe make it a little bit of a bigger project and make it into a book, adding in some other voices from the Black Catholic community, but wider also some white Catholics such as myself, so that this book could be a real opportunity for healing and unity, not just in the country, but in the church, which also needs to deal with these issues as well.
Yeah. And so you've written the biographies of each of these folks, and it's really beautifully done. And then you've had other contributors that are kind of giving their witness to these people, and they kind of put out there some themes that they see or why they're touched by them and why we need to know them. I think it's a beautiful combination of doing it in that way. So tell us a little bit, briefly, about these 6 African descent Catholics whose causes are open. Some of them are servants of God. Some of them are venerable. Just about all of them are converts. And so I was thinking about you and your conversion story. But tell us a little bit about each. Introduce us to them.
Well, we have 3 they're called venerable, 3 that are servants of God. The 3 venerabili are Pierre Toussaint, who was a former slave turned hairdresser, which was a little bit of a different occupation then than we might think of now. But he lived in New York City, and he was a man of immense generosity, kind of a forerunner of what we know as the Catholic Charities system in this country on his own. We also have Father Augustus Tolton, who was the first Catholic priest ordained from the United States who was admittedly African American. Who went through a great deal of racism in not just the society, but in the church as well, and had a great struggle to be ordained a priest. And then we also have Mother Henriette DeLille from New Orleans, who was not admitted to a couple different religious communities that she sought entrance to, and decided to found her own religious community to respond to the needs of poor, particularly girls in New Orleans, of minority descent, such as herself. The other 3 servants of God, Mother Mary Lang from Baltimore, who founded the Oblate Sisters of Providence. And then we have Julia Greeley from Denver, who herself was a former slave and was also a great apostle of charity. And then finally, we have Sister Thea Bowman, who was from Mississippi, and she was a real fiery evangelist who sang the Lord's praises with great joy all around the world.
Yes, indeed. And Joy and I, when I reverted back into the Catholic Church, and Joy converted in, and the parish we attended in Bessemer, Alabama, was St. Francis of Assisi Church, which was developed as an African American parish back in the day. And Sister Thea Bowman, we didn't meet her, but she was a frequent missionary that would come to our congregation and share. And so I heard of her. And she's one of the more contemporary ones on this journey. So you can go and search and put in Thea Bowman and hear her addressing the Catholic bishops conference and see her singing. And wow, I really understood what the people were telling me from an earlier time about when Sister Thea came. And I just, her passion, her soul, her singing, especially go tell it on the mountains. I love when she does that one. Go tell it on the mountains, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountains. Jesus Christ is born. And she was I think she was one of these people that we can all kind of relate to because she really seemed to take up the cause of the laity. And as she said to the USCCB gathering, she said, I want to be a preacher. I don't want to be in the pulpit. I mean, I understand you're in the pulpit, but you need to equip me to preach, to be an evangelist, to be a missionary. You need to equip us all to do that. And I need to do that in my unique African-American style. And you need to accept all of me and who I am. Say a few words about Thea Bowman for us, if you would.
Thea Bowman, well, in some ways, she was a living embodiment of the Second Vatican Council, wasn't she? Yeah. That she recognized the seeds of the truth of the gospel in every culture. And so she wanted to make sure that we built upon that. And that was what she dedicated her life to. She was a very accomplished scholar.
Yes.
She had a doctorate in English literature from the Catholic University of America. She taught. She was one of the founding faculty members at Xavier University's Institute for Black Catholic Studies. But her real heart was in experiences such as you mentioned at parishes, traveling around the country and the world, just preaching the good news of Jesus Christ. And the truth just radiated out of her.
Yes.
You mentioned that talk she gave to the U.S. bishops. Yeah. She was very sick and weakened with cancer. She was in a wheelchair, very physically suffering.
Yes.
But boy, when she spoke to them, she ignited the room.
Yes. And EWTN had that coverage. When we were done watching it, it said, it was by EWTN. Well, Michael, tell us about the contributors, the noteworthy contributors, and what they brought to the book.
Well, I was very grateful and happy that we had a foreword to the book by Archbishop Jose Gomez, Archbishop of Los Angeles and president of the U.S. Bishops' Conference. I was really grateful for his voice in this to show that these individuals needed our attention as Catholics across the country right now. We also had, as you mentioned, contributors that gave a little reflection on each of the individuals, in addition to the biographies that I wrote. We had Bishop Joseph Perry, who's an auxiliary bishop of Chicago, and also the vice postulator for the cause of Father Augustus Tolton. We had Gloria Purvis write about Mother Mary Lang. We had Father Josh Johnson from Louisiana write about Henriette DeLille, herself from Louisiana. We had Elizabeth Scalia from Word on Fire, Peter Jesser Smith from the National Catholic Register. It was really a great opportunity to bring together so many different voices. Also, Sister Josephine Garrett from Texas, who's a school counselor, but really an emerging evangelist herself. And we're very grateful to have her voice as well.
Mm-hmm. So how is the book being received? How is it being used? I know you kind of have two planks working. You want people to know these people. You want to help foster in any way you can their cause, that people would know them, maybe pray and ask for a miracle from them. That would certainly help their causes along. But also you have a heart for what the church gives, what Christ gives, the way forward more fully in terms of race relationships and racism and overcoming. So what sorts of reconciliation or unity or coming together might you have seen already?
Well, as I mentioned, Archbishop Gomez writing the foreword, I thought that was important because it would get people's attention. Yeah. And so, as I mentioned there, having him included was a way forward for people to pay attention to these 6 individuals, I think. But beyond that, the book is itself short. It's not a long book, and that was intentional. I wanted it to be accessible to people. So I'm hearing about how it's used in parishes with small groups. I'm hearing about how it's used in a high school curriculum, perhaps. And there are many other examples of how this book can be used. Perhaps someone can just take it and just read a section a day. It's not just informational. It's supposed to be formational as well. And then we have the prayers for each of the various causes, which you've mentioned, which is also part of why I wrote this book, that sometimes these causes have been ignored and not given the attention that other major canonization causes in this country have received. When they're ignored, they don't get the necessary funding that goes along with the dissemination of material and so on. And so the prayers aren't necessarily accessible. The only way they're going to get beatified is by a miracle, by God's intervention through their intercession. And so we need to make them known so people will pray to them.
Yeah. Well, Michael, tell our family where all these 6 beautiful holy men and women of God are on their journey to canonization. Where are they?
And Michael, tell us just about the steps of canonization, the titles. And I've studied that through, I understand it, and then I don't say something about it for 6 months, and I'm saying, well, which one is which, and what does this mean? So if you go through that and just tell us where they are in that journey.
It can be a rather hard process to understand, even though Pope St. John Paul II simplified it about 30, 40 years ago. I'll just say a few words about the canonization process in general. It starts off when someone has what we call a cultus, has a certain notoriety or fame where people are turning to them for intercession, where they're visiting their grave, where they're asking people to pray to them, and so on and so forth. And then at a certain point, that catches the attention of the church formally, and a cause is initiated, usually within a diocese, the diocese where the person was born or died for the most part. And once the cause is opened up, then the diocese or whoever is petitioning for the cause works in tandem with Rome, with the Holy See's Congregation for the Causes of Saints. And at a certain point, when the cause is formally opened, then they gain the title servant of God, that particular individual. And then there's a long process at the beginning where they dig into everything about this person. They dig into everything historically about the person, but also everything about their faith. So if there's someone that wrote a lot, everything they wrote that has been saved is gone through to make sure that everything they ever said doesn't have any theological difficulties, that they were a person of virtue and faith. People are interviewed. Even if the person has been long dead, people are interviewed. What have we heard about this person? And so on and so forth. This is a person who was really a model of holiness. And then all that's compiled together in a book with the cause and the Congregation for the Causes of Saints. That book's called a Positio. And then that is handed off to the Holy Father. And the Holy Father looks through that and decides, is this person worthy of veneration? Should this person be declared venerable? And then the Holy Father will approve that Positio. They gain the title of venerable. And then we wait. We wait for a miracle. We wait for God's action through this person's intercession. And then when the first miracle is authenticated, they're beatified. The second miracle is authenticated, they're canonized. So these 6 individuals are all on the formal path. There are 3 that are servant of God. They're still compiling the information, getting the Positio ready. And then 3 more are venerable.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting as you're sharing about how they seriously study the person, their writings. The more writings, the more they study. In Thea Bowman's case, I guess they're going to do a search because there's video, there's tape, there's her dresses, there's whatever, and they're going to be looking at all of that as well. We just have a couple of minutes left, or 3 minutes left. I'm just, reading this, in one sense, my heart was grieved, and I just wanted to cry, because so many of these people, we think of the Civil War, 1861 to 1865 approximately. So you've got people here of African descent before that time, you have people right before the time, you have people at the time of the Civil War, you have Reconstruction, you have segregation, all these different things, and just to see what they went through. I mean, it was grievous to my spirit to see all that they suffered, but also it just inspired me so much to see how they dealt with it in the way of agape love and holiness of life. But share for a moment about what it must have been like for them at various junctures to be black and Catholic, because there was a great anti-Catholic bigotry in the United States of America, especially mid-1800s through mid-1900s, to be black and to be Catholic. Speak about that with these people.
I would put it very simply that it was truly the way of the cross for them, that they accepted this because they knew it was true. They accepted it out of love. They accepted the faith of Jesus Christ and the Catholic Church because there was no other way for them. But it cost them, as you mentioned, great time of anti-Catholicism. Many American Catholics suffered at that time for all sorts of reasons, but they suffered doubly, right?
Yes.
And so when we look at their lives, we don't have a saint out of that generation, that era of Civil War, Reconstruction, and so on. One of these individuals, pray God, will emerge as a witness for us of how the gospel stayed lit, how there was a light in darkness at that time. And you look at Father Augustus Tolton, for example,
Yes.
who was born right before the Civil War and lived through that whole period, and then no American seminary would accept him because of the color of his skin.
Right.
But what did he do with that, right? He didn't give up. He didn't say, oh, gee, I'll just forget the church. I'll do something else. Not at all. Not at all. He persevered, and he wanted to serve God as a priest.
Amen.
Brought him to Rome, thought he was going to Africa as a missionary, but he came back because the church needed to learn a lesson.
Michael, thank you so much for opening up the book, Black Catholics on the Road to Sainthood. It's a very important work. It's so well done. We look forward to hearing more tomorrow, to be encouraged and to emulate the ways of these 6 who are on the road of canonization. So thank you so much, and we will be back with you again tomorrow. Plenty more to come. We'll be right back. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. We're at home with Jim and Joy, and we had a wonderful conversation with Michael Heinlein about his great book about the Black Catholics on the road to sainthood. So he said, in the one story that really broke my heart too was the one of Father Tolton, and there was no place for him in the inn, as it would be here in the United States of America, for him to receive his seminary education. And the church, he thought he was going to go to Africa. And the church, in its wisdom, said, no, you're going to go back to the America that didn't want you as their son. And you will be a sacrificial lamb, like Jesus, in that way. And he did it out of obedience and love. And he would walk all over the area. He couldn't catch a ride. He couldn't get in a car. Because of the hatred and racism, and as it was in the day. And so, you just think of that, and you think of sufferings that he went through for the love of God. And today, just say to yourself, what sufferings am I willing to go through for the love of God? Does somebody have to understand me? Do they have to get me? And how quick are we to snap with an attitude or an opinion? And nobody wants to pay the price for just being misunderstood for the color of your skin or for the God that you choose to serve, be you Catholic or Protestant, whatever you choose to be. So I think they have much to teach us.
Well, our Black brothers and sisters do have a lot to teach us. It's a unique experience that they've been through regarding slavery, color, degradation by people. As Martin Luther King said, the thingification of a whole race of people. And yet so many have not returned evil for evil, but have returned good for evil, especially these 6 that we're speaking about here. And they really set a model, an example for us in a unique way of their Black experience in the United States of America. Blessed are you when men revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Well, how was that being done? Did they suffer for Christ? They did, even in their own humanity. A lot of these people were Christian people, but they were attacking Christ in the image and likeness of these people with black skin of a great continent of Africa. And yet they bore that. And we can learn from that, and we can emulate that we would love one another as Christ loves us, that we would see the presence of Jesus Christ in every human being before we think, speak, or touch another. This is the way forward, that as you do it unto the least, you do it unto me. And if we do that, then there are great times ahead for the United States of America and for this whole world if we would but put Christ first and say, whatever we do to this one, we do to Jesus Christ himself. It's wonderful to be Christian. It's grand to be Catholic. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You are never alone. You're always at home with Jim, and with joy. Christ will prevail. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.